Getting and staying lean around the time of the menopause can be an absolute struggle, and it can be even more of a struggle to actually stay there once you get there. And I'm going to give you my honest breakdown of how I did it and how I actually stayed lean as a woman over 50. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal, and this channel is all about helping you if you're a woman over 40 or like me over 50 get in fantastic shape. I'm going to give you the cold hard truth about how I got lean in perimenopause and around menopause, and how I stay in condition today post menopause, because I can tell you it hasn't been easy, but it is doable given the right techniques and given the right mindset, which is absolutely critical. So why is it hard? Well, building muscle actually takes time. So my foundation of actually getting lean over 40 and over 50 is to get yourself some muscle, because you've lost muscle through the aging process, and that's going to build your metabolism. But the problem is, as you get older, it's actually really hard to build muscle. And I actually had quite a lot of difficulty doing this until I got things right. I spent 2.5 years trying to build some muscle, because what muscle's going to do is actually help you burn more fat. And at the same time, it's actually really hard to lose fat at around the time of menopause, around the time of perimenopause, and the time of postmenopause. It takes longer, and it's going to be much harder to drop body fat, because actually most women at this time in life, they're actually gaining weight. So you're trying to reverse that, aren't you? So what's really important as you get older is you need to be really on point with how you work out, getting your workouts right, but also your nutrition needs to be really tight, because we can't get away with what we did in our younger days. So certainly when I was younger, when I was in my 30s, and I worked out a bit and didn't get things really tight as I do now, I actually got pretty good results, and I wouldn't be able to get away with that now. And more recently, I actually spent 2.5 years, when I started my transformation 6 years ago, not getting things right, which was really frustrating. And I'm going to explain the foundation of what you need to get lean around the time of perimenopause and menopause. So first off, you need to be strength training, but it needs to be the right kind of strength training. So you can strength train and actually not see results, which is really frustrating. So it's really important to get what's called progressive overload and hypertrophy. And the way to do that is making sure that your muscle is constantly being challenged when you actually do your workout. So for example, if you're going and lifting the same weight every week and doing the same rep range, and you're doing the same, you're actually not going to see results by that. You need to be progressively improving, increasing the intensity or increasing the weight, that kind of thing, to actually see progress with strength training. And one of the things that I learned quite early on is the intensity of my workouts needed to be really good. So if you think about getting 1% better each time you work out when you're doing strength training, that is always a good way of looking at it. Secondly, the way that I got lean was actually introducing high intensity interval training. That doesn't mean high impact. It doesn't mean that you have to jump around. There's a lot of ways you can incorporate high intensity interval training, and it's really not about jumping around. It's actually the intensity of the workout. So you have periods where it's really intense exercise, exercise, and periods where you are doing walking pace. So typically that might be 30 seconds of very intense flat out and up to 2 minutes of walking pace. I find it has made a key difference for me and the women that I work with introducing high intensity interval training, and you can get really good fat burning results from that. Thirdly, high protein eating is absolutely key. So what that means is getting the right balance of macronutrients. That's what I found was a massive game changer for me. So that's the balance of protein, carbohydrates and fats, and protein needs to be really, really high in order to get results, especially around the time of perimenopause and menopause, because it's actually going to support that muscle growth, but it's going to give you better fat burning and it's going to boost your metabolism. And I actually run my own online programs where you have your strength training and your high intensity interval training, which is suitable for people with bad knees, your nutrition, all covered in one program. I actually run my own programs. I'm going to put the link up here and I'm going to put the link in the description so you can go ahead and check those out. When I went on my transformation journey, it took me an awful long time, partly because I was getting things wrong. So I spent 2.5 years really of failing. But one thing is you do need to give yourself enough time. So giving yourself sort of 6 weeks to make a transformation is just not long enough. So this is the kind of timeline that you need to be looking at in terms of getting lean and staying lean. And that's 6 weeks, you're going to see some small changes. So you're going to see some inch loss, you're going to see that you're starting to sort of take shape and you're dropping body fat. In 12 weeks, other people will start to notice. You may even find, because you're losing fat around your face as well, that people notice it, even if they actually can't see your body on Zoom calls, for example. They will actually start commenting and kind of saying, oh, have you lost weight? But it's going to take 6 to 12 months for a full body transformation like mine. So you do have to give yourself time, because what you've got to remember is what I said about building muscle and losing fat actually takes time at this stage in life. So you're going to need a certain type of mindset where you're prepared to be patient and you're prepared to let it happen and you're prepared to take your time. But if you do that, the rewards, I promise you, are really, really high. But it is about being consistent. It's actually about being consistent over time. So doing things 80% of the time, getting the right workouts, the right nutrition 80% of the time, but doing it consistently over a long period of time, rather than doing a short piece of kind of dieting activity like a boot camp and then spending some weeks doing that and then falling off and not doing it for ages and then starting it again. That's no good. What you need to be doing is doing this consistently 80% of the time. With my own journey, what happened when I reached a certain point is I decided to start competing in bodybuilding shows. So, I got extremely lean by competing in bodybuilding shows. That was for me the pinnacle of fitness. So that was the pinnacle of kind of achieving the ultimate body, was competing in bikini shows and actually reaching that peak level of leanness. But what I learned by doing that is actually that is not sustainable in the long term. So how you see me today, how that looks today, I put a picture up here of what I currently look like in a bikini. I don't look anywhere as lean. And what I've learned from going in through this process is actually being extremely lean. You don't feel very good. You actually feel like crap. You have no energy, and actually, despite what it looks like, you're not as strong and you feel hungry, you feel tired. So of course, I don't want to be going around feeling hungry and tired and drained all the time and not feeling very strong when I'm doing my lifts in the gym. So I can't sustain that level of leanness loss in the long term. So I have to get to a set point where I feel comfortable, which is kind of how I am now, which is about 55 kilos, which is about 120 pounds. That's where I feel comfortable. That's where I feel I don't feel too drained and I don't feel too tired. And I'm walking around with some kind of energy, although of course it's not normal, because what's happened to me is I've now been through menopause over the last year to 18 months. My menstrual cycle stopped. So what I've found is that I have less energy naturally. So it's going to be really, really difficult for somebody like me in this stage of life to actually be really lean. So where I sit now is very, very comfortable. But once you get lean, the real problem is, even to sustain how I am today, it's actually really difficult because you need some sort of motivation. And when I first started on this journey, the goal was to get competition lean. So the goal was to compete in bikini shows. Now I'm not doing that. I didn't do that in 2022. The last time I competed is 2021, and I haven't done it so far this year because actually my energy levels are not good enough at the moment to go through the competition prep process. And that's not to put anybody off. If you're going through or been through the menopause, you can't do it, but that's just how I feel at the moment. So it's not the right time for me. So I need a really strong reason why. And I talked about mindset, didn't I? So the mindset to stay in the sort of shape that I am today, it's actually much harder because I've achieved everything that I want to achieve. I have to find really new strong reasons why, and those for me, so I want longevity, I want to prevent feeling frail, to kind of use my body and be active and do the things that I want to do, because it's going to give me a certain amount of freedom, and health is wealth after all, isn't it, if you've got your health. And the other strong reason why for me is I'm actually a role model to other women that show them what they can achieve if they take these steps. So for me, that's really, really important that I kind of model the behaviour. I love being able to wear swimwear. I love being able to wear the clothes I want, and I love being complimented about my shape. So that's another really, really strong reason why. So you have to find, in order to get lean, but also to stay lean, because that's even harder, you've got to find your strong reason why. I hope that's helped you on your journey to getting and staying lean. I'd love to know, and I know many of you leave comments telling me that this has really helped you, and I love to read them. Do post a comment if you're going on your transformation journey now and let me know how you're getting on.